So Boldo's 5 key takeaways from the Sharks versus the Cowboys, Week 2 Finals, 2024. 5 key takeaways. Number 1, the refereeing. Refereeing in finals matches, well, it's different, and we're going to need to adapt. There are fewer penalties, faster games, tire forwards, manipulations of the ruck, slightly different interpretations of the rules. And so my key takeaway is we dealt with it pretty well in Week 2. Week 1, we weren't ready. And in past final series under Fitzgibbon, we haven't been. It is a different game, and we need to adapt. Annesley called it out that the finals matches were up to 10% faster. What we need to do is have a plan. I'm not sure exactly what that plan is going to be. That's why they pay 50 the big bucks. And I'm just the host of the ET Stand podcast. But hopefully, we've got a plan. Next, 4 forward bench. The structure of the bench with the 4 forwards is definitely right. In light of point 1, it's a different game. Now, I'm not the type of person to say I told you so, but I did tell you so that 4 forwards is going to work better. And I look forward to one of my dearest friends giving a rebuttal of why he thinks that's not right. But 1 extra player means greater impact from Tommy, Royce, and Siffer, all who played fewer minutes but had great impact. But if you also see one of the players who played the same number of minutes, Toby Rudolph, well, we saw his best match for weeks. We also saw far fewer errors this week from the Sharkies. 4 forwards is the way to go for this final series. Now, before you say, what happens if we have an outside back injury? If we have an injury in a match, then we're going to struggle anyway. We've got to ride our luck. We've got to gamble. The 4 forwards is the correct gamble that we should be taking. Next, the media, well, they just hate us. God, I'm just getting sick of the Sharks being bashed. Why do we have to see a thing about crowd comparisons of one team that's an hour away from the stadium and another team that lives next door? We see all the stuff from Nico. I don't remember a player who's been under as much pressure, and Latz will no doubt remind us of that in his segment next. And then why is it that the Sharks have got segments now on the news about off-contract stars, and why they're talking about Braden Trindle, wanting out and all this sort of rubbish? I don't seem to feel like the other teams cop this, but we certainly do. Next, form players. In past seasons, we've barely had 1 player in lightning form going into the final series. In the last 2 years, that's been Britton Nakora. Now, we've got Braden Trindle, Toby Rudolph's playing brilliantly. Rami and Aniro are in great form. Their meters per game are absolutely brilliant. We've got a whole bunch of characters back to their best, which is absolutely what we need as we head into week 3 of the final series. However, we need more. If we're to beat Penrith, we need to get more out of a couple of players, and I'm going to mention them in a second, and I mean like best games that these guys have played for a long time. We've got nothing to lose against the Penrith Panthers. No one expects us to win, so let's see what we've got. And who am I talking to? Well, for starters, we got 16 minutes out of Sifa Talakai. We can get more out of him. Nico, be ready. You were B+ in that game on Friday night. Let's see what you can do. Can you go A+? Brayley, let's run it more. Katoa and Ronaldo, let's limit those errors. And Kennedy, we need those flashes of brilliance and better fullback positioning. So it's a couple of R's, but we need a couple of the guys to step up. Those are my 5 key takeaways from the Sharks versus Cowboys match. Francis, how do you go? Do you agree with me, disagree on any of those, or have you got your own one to add?
No, I think you nailed it pretty well. I'm a big supporter of the forwards on the bench. I think if we're going to have a chance of beating Penrith, we've got to control them in the middle. If they get the roll on down in our territory, they're very hard to hold out. And I think we have to keep our tactics to finish the 6, hold the ball, and keep them down there in as much as we can. So I think the forwards have a big role in it. So, I'm a big supporter of that one.
Lats, your key takeaways from the Cowboys and the Sharks. Anything to add?
Mate, look, I think Fitzy's got the team really fit. I think the four forwards on the bench is huge. That's our sort of cheat code, I guess. And having Talakai coming off the bench really helps that. The refereeing, look, you could talk about the ref all day, but you've got to make your own luck. We saw 2 very different refereed games over the weekend. One, Sunday's game was an absolute penalty-a-thon where Klein let it slide for us, and I thought it was a bit more free-flowing. Just in that photo there, please, Jack, hold the ball with 2 hands. And in the media, mate, we've always been habit in the media. We used to be a week outfit at board level going back many, many, many years ago, and I just think that's just rolled on. And but we're starting to hold our own now, and I think the tide will change soon on that.
Matthew?
Thank you for throwing to me. I agree, the forwards. So historically, 2016, we saw the benefit of having a utility on the bench. I think we don't win that grand final if we don't have a utility, despite Gerard Bill not being the best player on the field. He came in and did a job when Fecky went down injured. It's a different game now. It's a lot faster. It depends what your forward balance is. I think twofold. Yes, we need the 4 forwards on the bench. It's the gamble. You've got to throw all your eggs in and go, okay, ride your luck and hopefully get a result. And 4 forwards is that. Unfortunately for Atkinson, I feel for him because I think that he would be great in the clutch moments, but 18th man it will be. But also, too, I think that the bench rotations the other night, I'm not sure if Fitzy was doing it to preserve Talakai if he's still carrying an injury, but he played minimal minutes, as did Royce Hunt, which admittedly, Hunt usually plays about 20 minutes anyway. That's where that argument about his impact and keep him versus let him go the Tigers. I'd like to see a bit more from that because we looked, the first 10 minutes, we didn't use the forwards. Second half, we certainly looked gassed at times. So we need to make sure that we balance that on the weekend. And as for the media, we love to, I suppose, wouldn't say we're precious. We definitely get targeted. I think Penrith got targeted for a long period of time. For a long time, they were the butt of every joke getting around with Gus's 5-year plan. Just dominance and success has pushed that aside. While you look at the Roosters and Storm, absolute media darlings, they're never going to cop anything. So hopefully they're blocking it out or embracing it and using it to their benefit. But I think that the fact that the matter is the Tigers are out of the comp, so we're the whipping boys. But yeah, all of the media hoopla is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll give a shout out to the Bloke in the Bar podcast. Have a listen to their episode yesterday, and they are talking was it Den Kemp and 2 others, talking about how ridiculous the entire thing is, whether it's Nico, whether it's bashing the Sharks. They just said, look, it's the whole thing is flawed and biased and agenda driven and everything that's wrong with rugby league media. And then when they talk about Nico, they say, you smash him last week for not being involved. And then if you got 2 involved this week, you turn around and say that he got overplayed his hand, got 2 involved yet. Yeah.
What about the rubbish of him, of just them analysing the semantics of a couple of choice of words that he used in the press conference? So his comment was, I'm not going to let 80 minutes define me as a human being. And
that's a great comment.
I think it's complete. Like, if you want to interpret that as a dumb comment, you can. Or if you want to interpret it as a brilliant comment, you can. Like, the guy has done a whole bunch of work and using his position in rugby league to forward a whole bunch of issues that he feels incredibly passionate about. Like, it shouldn't define him, but it's a big part of his life. So, they're just out for a headline. And I got to say, the Dave Riccio on NRL 360, he was good tonight. Phantom Realm comes through with that comment. But yeah, Matty, let's just move off that segment. Bugger it.
The man, Nico is the man in the arena. All the best to him. But yeah, don't mention the media. It's always going to happen. And if we lose this week, we're going to cop it. If we win this week, we're going to cop it. It's just a fact of life. Let's get the job done and move on.